Chapter 8: Designing Pay Levels, Mix, and Pay Structures. In the last chapter, we discussed market and organization factors that influence a different organization's external, competitive policies. Now we examine how managers use these factors to determine pay levels, mix of forms, and structures. Major decisions in setting external, competitive pay and designing the corresponding pay structures includes: specify the employer's competitive pay policy, define the purpose of the survey, select relevant market competitors, design the survey, interpret survey results, and construct the market line. Construct a pay policy line that reflects external pay policy and balance competitiveness with internal alignment through the use of ranges, flat rates, and/or bands. Specify competitive pay policy. The first decision, determining the external competitive pay policy, was covered in the previous chapter. Translating any external pay policy into practice requires information on the external market. A survey is the systematic process of collecting and making judgments about the compensation paid by other employers. Surveys provide the data for translating that policy into pay levels, pay mix, and structures. The purpose of a survey: an employer conducts or participates in a survey for a number of reasons: adjust the pay level in response to changing rates paid by competitors, set the mix of pay forms relative to that paid by competitors, establish or price a pay structure, analyze pay-related problems, or estimate the labor costs of products, service, market competitors. Adjust pay level: how much to pay? Most organizations make adjustments to employees' pay on a regular basis. Such adjustments can be based on the overall movement of pay rates caused by the competition for people in the market. Adjust pay mix. What forms? Adjustments to different forms of pay. Competitors use base, bonus, stock, benefits, and the relative importance they place on each form occur less frequently than adjustments to overall pay level. It is not clear why changes to the pay mix occur less frequently than changes. More likely, insufficient attention has been devoted to mix decisions. Adjust pay structure. Many employers use market surveys to validate their own job evaluation results. But if the market shows vastly different pay rates for the two types of work, most employers will recheck their evaluation process to see whether the jobs have been properly evaluated. Some may even establish a separate structure for different types of work. Study special situations. Information from specialized surveys can shed light on specific pay-related problems. A special study may focus on a targeted group such as patent attorneys, retail sales managers, secretaries, or software engineers. Estimate competitors' labor costs. Survey data are used as part of employers' broader efforts to gather competitive intelligence. To better understand how competitors achieve their market share and price their products, services, companies seek to examine, that is, benchmark practices, costs, and so forth against competitors, including in the area of compensation. Select relevant market competitors. We are up to the third of our major decisions shown in Exhibit 8.1. Specify relevant markets. To make decisions about pay level, mix, and structures, a relevant labor market must be defined that includes employers who compete in one or more of the following areas. 1. The same occupations or skills. 2. Employees within the same geographic area. 3. The same products and services. Exhibit 8.3 shows how qualifications interact with geography to define the scope of relevant labor markets. As the importance and the complexity of the qualifications increase, the geographic limits also increase. Competition tends to be national or international for managerial and professional skills, as in Exhibit 8.2, but local or regional for clerical and production skills. Some writers argue that if the skills are tied to a particular industry, as underwriters, actuaries, and claims representatives are to insurance, for example, it makes sense to define the market on an industry basis, and some research agrees. If accounting, sales, or clerical skills are not limited to one particular industry, then industry considerations are less important. While the quantity of data available for international comparisons is improving, using the data to adjust pay still requires a lot of judgment. Labor markets are just emerging in some regions: China, Russia. Historically, state planning agencies set Chapter 8 designing pay levels, mix, and pay structures 245 nationwide wage rates, so there was no need for surveys. Japanese companies share information among themselves but not with outsiders, so no surveys are available.
Interpret survey results and construct a market line. Survey data today are typically exchanged online. Technology has made processing data and spitting out reports easy. The greatest challenge of total compensation surveys is to understand how to evaluate the information. Accuracy of match. Part A of the survey contains the description of the survey job. If the company job is similar but not identical, some companies use the benchmark conversion/survey leveling approach discussed earlier in this chapter. Anomalies. Individual level data provide a wealth of information about specific practices. Understanding minimums, maximums, and what % actually receive bonuses and other options is essential. Statistical analyses. While the statistics necessary to analyze survey data, including regression, are covered in basic statistics classes, a number of websites are probably more fun statistical analyses. Frequency distribution. Frequency distributions help visualize information and may highlight anomalies. Shapes of frequency distributions can vary. Central tendency. A measure of central tendency reduces a large amount of data into a single number. The distinction between mean and weighted mean is important. Variation. The distribution of rates around a measure of central tendency is called variation. Setting pay for non-benchmark jobs. The market pay lines are especially useful for helping set pay for non-benchmark jobs. For example, take a job Z, that has no match, but for which we have assigned a job evaluation point score of 110. Setting pay for non-benchmark jobs. The market pay lines are especially useful for helping set pay for non-benchmark jobs. For example, take a job Z, that has no match, but for which we have assigned a job evaluation point score of 110. From policy to practice. The pay policy line. Determining the pay level. There are several ways to translate external competitive policy into practice. You have already made some of the choices that help you do this. Choice measure. Updating policy line of % of market line from policy to practice. Grades and ranges. The next step is to design pay grades and pay ranges. These analyses are usually done with base pay data, since base pay reflects the basic value of the work rather than performance levels of employees. Develop grades. The first step in building flexibility into the pay structure is to group different jobs that are considered substantially equal for pay purposes into a grade. Establish range midpoints, minimums, and maximums. Grades group job evaluation data on the horizontal axis. Ranges group salary data on the vertical axis. Ranges set upper and lower pay limits for all jobs in each grade. Overlap. The smaller ranges create less overlap, which permits the manager to reinforce a promotion into a new grade with a larger pay increase. The downside is that there may be fewer opportunities for promotion. From policy to practice. Broadbanding. This technique, known as broadbanding, consolidates as many as 4 or 5 traditional grades into a single band with one minimum and one maximum. Flexibility control. Broadbanding encourages employees to seek growth and development by moving cross-functionally. The assumption is that this cross-fertilization of ideas will benefit the organization. Reconciling differences. The problem with using two standards, internal and external, to create a structure is that they are likely to result in two different structures. Market pricing. The competitive rates for jobs for which external market data are available are calculated. Then the remaining, non-benchmark, jobs are blended into the pay hierarchy created by the external rates, ranked to market. Pfizer, for example, begins with job analyses and job descriptions. Business strategy, more than follow the leader, pure market pricing carried to this extreme ignores internal alignment completely. Gone is any attempt to align internal pay structures with the business strategy and the work performed.
Fuzzy market. Try finding the job in the market. These new organizations and jobs fuse together diverse knowledge and experience, so relevant markets appear more like fuzzy market. So even within traditional companies, unique talent is required for unique jobs. Design the survey. Designing the survey requires answering the following questions. First, who should be involved in the survey design? Second, how many employers should be included? Third, which jobs should be included? Fourth, what information should be collected? Consulting firms offer a wide choice of ongoing surveys covering almost every job, family, and industry group imaginable. Who should be involved? In most organizations, the responsibility for managing the survey lies with the compensation manager. But compensation expenses have a powerful effect on profit, ability, including managers and employees, on the task forces make sense. What information to collect? The three basic types of data typically are requested. First is information about the organization. Second is information about the total compensation system. The third is the specific pay data on each incumbent in the jobs under study. Interpret survey results and construct a market line. Survey data today are typically exchanged online. Technology has made processing data and spitting out reports easy. The greatest challenge of total compensation surveys is to understand how to evaluate the information. Which jobs to include? A general guideline is to select as few employers and jobs as necessary to accomplish the purpose. There are several approaches to selecting jobs for inclusion. How many employers? There are no firm rules on how many employers to include in a survey. National surveys conducted by consulting firms often include more than 100 employers. Clients of these consultants often stipulate special analysis that report pay rates by selected industry groups, geographic region, and or pay labels. Verify data. Common first step is to check the accuracy of the job matches, and then check for anomalies. An employer whose data substantially out of line from data of others. Age of data and nature of the organization. Statistical analysis. While the statistics necessary to analyze survey data, including regression, are covered and basic statistic classes, a number of websites are probably more fun.